Imagine opening your eyes in a world where humans weren't alone. Not aliens, not monsters. Real human species, living beside us. So why is only one of them left today? 50,000 years ago, Earth looked very different. Several kinds of humans walked across different continents. Each had their own strengths. Each had adapted to unique environments. Today, every one of them is gone, except us. Some were shorter than modern children, others were stronger than professional athletes. Some thrived in freezing climates, others survived on isolated islands. Together, they formed an extraordinary human family. But this family slowly disappeared. Not in one catastrophic moment, not through a single war. Their story unfolded across thousands of years, and its ending still puzzles scientists. What erased these remarkable relatives? Was it competition, climate change, disease, or was survival simply a matter of chance? If you enjoy incredible stories about the human evolution, resilient people, and remarkable human transformation, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to History 8, and share this story with someone who loves inspiring human evolution documentaries. Now let's discover why we are the only human species left. To understand the answer, we have to travel far into the past, long before modern civilizations, long before written history, back to one of humanity's greatest survivors, a species called Homo erectus. They first appeared nearly 2 million years ago. That number is difficult to imagine. Their existence stretched across an almost unimaginable span of time. Compared to them, our recorded history is only a tiny chapter. Their legacy shaped the future of humanity. But here's the surprising part. Despite surviving for almost 2 million years, they still vanished. How could a species that endured for so long simply disappear? The answer begins with how they conquered the world. Unlike earlier humans, Homo erectus was built for movement. Their long legs allowed them to travel great distances. They crossed landscapes their ancestors had never seen. Many scientists believe they became the first humans to leave Africa. That journey changed human history forever. They adapted to forests, grasslands, and changing climates. They crafted reliable stone tools. They survived where many species could not. Yet even these incredible pioneers eventually reached their limits, and their final chapter is more tragic than most people realize. At their peak, Homo erectus seemed unstoppable. They had spread across continents. They had mastered survival in harsh environments. For nearly 2 million years, they endured. But endurance alone wasn't enough forever. Their final populations became isolated. Small groups were cut off from one another. They could no longer share knowledge or resources. Over time, their numbers slowly declined. Isolation became their greatest weakness. Forests began to shrink. Food sources became harder to find. The environment started to change faster than they could adapt. Each challenge made recovery more difficult. Their long dominance was quietly slipping away. Unlike before, there was no new land to expand into, no fresh territory to escape pressure, no large populations to rebuild from losses. They had reached the edge of their limits, and the world kept changing around them. After surviving almost 2 million years, they vanished. Not suddenly, not dramatically, just slowly fading out of existence. But Homo erectus was not the only human species. Another group was already thriving elsewhere, stronger, adapted for colder climates, and far more misunderstood than we once believed. They are known as the Neanderthals. For decades, they were seen as primitive, slow, unintelligent. But that image could not be more wrong. Neanderthals were powerful and resilient. Their bodies were built for survival in extreme cold. They had thick bones and strong muscles. They hunted large, dangerous animals, and they faced risks most humans would avoid. Their intelligence was remarkable. They controlled fire. They crafted advanced tools. Some evidence suggests they buried their dead. They may have even had symbolic thinking. So here's the real mystery. If Neanderthals were strong and intelligent, why did they disappear? And what happened when they finally met us? When Homo sapiens entered Europe and Asia, they were not alone. Neanderthals were already living there. For thousands of years, both species shared the same land. They hunted the same animals. They survived in the same harsh environments. This was not a brief encounter. It lasted generations, long enough for interaction, long enough for conflict, and even long enough for connection. DNA reveals something unexpected. These two species did not just compete, they also interbred. Even today, many humans carry Neanderthal genes, a reminder that our histories are connected. But coexistence came with pressure. Both species depended on the same resources. Food became a shared struggle, territory became more valuable, and survival became more uncertain. So if they lived together, if they even had children together, why didn't Neanderthals survive with us? What gave Homo sapiens the edge? The answer may lie beyond strength or intelligence. Homo sapiens formed larger groups. They built wider social networks. Information could travel across distances. Tools and ideas spread faster. No group was ever truly alone. Neanderthals, however, lived differently. Their groups were smaller and more isolated. Fewer connections meant fewer resources. Recovery from hardship became more difficult, and isolation made them vulnerable. At the same time, the climate kept shifting. Ice ages came and went. Landscapes changed constantly. Food sources moved or disappeared. Every change increased the pressure to survive. Over time, Neanderthal populations shrank. Groups became separated. Genetic diversity declined. Their ability to adapt weakened, and slowly, they began to disappear. By around 40,000 years ago, they were gone. Not from one event, but from many pressures combined. And yet, their story doesn't end there. Neanderthals were not the only mystery left behind. There was another human species, one we almost never see in fossils, one that stayed hidden for thousands of years, until a single discovery changed everything. In a remote cave in Siberia, scientists found something small, a fragment of a finger bone. Nothing that looked extraordinary at first, but inside it was a story never told before, a completely unknown human species. They were named the Denisovans, not because we knew what they looked like, but because of where they were found. Their physical appearance remains a mystery, yet their genetic impact is undeniable. DNA revealed something astonishing. They were different from Neanderthals, different from modern humans, a separate branch of humanity altogether, a hidden chapter in our own history. But here's the strange part. We have barely any bones from them. So how do we know they existed at all? Because they are still alive, not as a species, but inside us. Modern populations carry Denisovan DNA, especially in parts of Asia and Oceania. Some groups carry a significant percentage. Their genes didn't disappear. They merged into the future. One gene helped humans survive at high altitudes. It allows people to function where oxygen is low. Without it, survival would be far more difficult. That adaptation came from Denisovans. A species we can barely see changed how we live today. But as a living population, they faded. Like others before them, their numbers were likely small, and small populations rarely survive major change. The world shifted, and they couldn't keep up. Yet their disappearance wasn't the strangest story. Another human species lived far away, on an isolated island, cut off from the rest of the world, and evolution took a very different path there. These humans were unlike anything we've seen, small in size, unusual in form, living in a world of giant predators, and their story challenges everything we think we know. On a remote island in Indonesia, something extraordinary existed, a human species unlike any other, small, fragile-looking, yet surprisingly capable. They lived in isolation for thousands of years, and their story feels almost impossible. They are known as Homo floresiensis, often called the tiny humans, standing barely 1 meter tall, with brains far smaller than ours, yet they survived in a dangerous world. They shared their environment with giant predators. Massive lizards roamed the land. Strange animals filled the island. Resources were limited, but they adapted in their own unique way. Isolation changed everything. On islands, evolution works differently. Large animals shrink. Small species can evolve in unexpected ways. and these humans became something entirely unique. But here's the question. If they survived in such harsh conditions, why did they disappear? Did something wipe them out? Or did time simply catch up to them? Around the time modern humans arrived nearby, their story began to fade. We don't know if there was conflict. We don't know if it was competition. But shortly after, they were gone. And now, the pattern becomes clear. Different species, different environments, different strengths. Yet all of them disappeared. So why did we survive? It wasn't just intelligence. Other species were intelligent too. It wasn't just strength. Others were stronger than us. The difference may have been connection. We built networks, not just groups. Ideas traveled far beyond individuals. Knowledge survived even when people didn't. We adapted faster than the world changed. We were not the strongest. We were not the only ones. We were just the ones who remained. A single branch from a once vast human family. And that truth changes how we see ourselves forever. For most of history, we were never alone. We shared this planet with other humans, each with their own story, each with their own way of surviving. Now, only one story continues. Their disappearance was not simple. It was not one event. It was a combination of change, pressure, and time. A slow fading of entire species, until only one remained. And that survivor is us. But the real question is not just about the past. It's about the future. If survival once depended on adaptation, what will it depend on next? And will we be ready? If this story made you think differently about humanity, then you're already seeing what most people miss. This channel is built for people like you, people who want to uncover the forgotten truths of history, the stories that were never fully told. So take a moment, subscribe, turn on notifications, because the next story might change everything you think you know, and this time, you won't miss it.